Hey, I'm Riley, and this is the Superhuman podcast. At Superhuman, we bring you cutting edge insights from experts and high performers to help you unlock your body's full potential, supercharge your mind, and achieve more with less effort. Do you want to fix nagging health issues, boost productivity, spark genius ideas, master stress, build better relationships, and increase your income? It all starts by optimizing your inner machinery. My guest today is Leonardo Fabri. Leonardo is the founder of Artificial Intelligence in Monaco and a leading advisor at the intersection of finance and frontier technology. With a background as a Goldman Sachs investment advisor, Leonardo now helps investors and innovators navigate the fast-moving AI landscape through strategic insights, research, and education. He's also the driving force between the annual Monaco AI Conference, a gathering that brings together scientists, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders to discuss the future of artificial intelligence and its global impact. And at artificialintelligencemonaco.com, Leonardo and his team offer a unique blend of Substack research, private consultations, and high-impact workshops, really making it easier for clients to identify alpha-generating opportunities in the AI space and stay ahead of the curve ultimately. Leonardo, welcome to the show.
Thank you, really. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, I really appreciate you coming on today. And AI is a topic that a lot of people are curious about, and especially the way you talk about it and just so generously give education to people and show them the way in a world where this comes from so many angles. So the first question I'm kind of wondering for you is like, where did your journey start into all this? What inspired you to create artificial intelligence in Monaco? And let's start with there, and then we can go from there.
Fair enough. I would say that everything started when I was in my high school time in Lyceum in Rome. I am from Roma, and I studied over there classical studies. We used to translate books from Latin or ancient Greeks and getting, let's say, inspired by the stories of 2000 plus years ago coming from those myths. And after that, I decided to relocate to London for my university. And while I was studying economics and finance at the top university in UK, I was performing my internships at Goldman Sachs on the trading floor. Those were more or less when I was around 19, 20. I was probably the youngest Italian on the trading floor back in the time. And after my analyst program, I decided to pursue a master in cognitive neuroscience. Back in 2018, when artificial intelligence wasn't really around, at least as much as today. It was already a thing for sure. It has been for a while, at least 50 years, that the research in the laboratories are mentioning this, and even more if you speak about speculations, just legends. But the concrete, let's say, evolution, it has been taking place since probably 5-6 years lately. And I decided to pursue this master because I had my undergraduate dissertation done on behavioral economics. So I had already started during my undergraduate to get some interest in between economics and, if you want, neuroscience or psychology. And that's what led me to try to understand a bit better the human mind. And after that, I realized that my real interest lied exactly in between these two worlds of finance and neuroscience. So I ended up living in Monaco since now 3 years, and I am doing more or less the same I used to do in London for Goldman Sachs. In Goldman, I used to advise financial institutions on their asset allocation, focusing on either alpha generating opportunities or beta adjusting strategies. And now I do essentially the same, but for private investors or high net worth individuals or family offices. And the thing that I enjoy the most is doing it with an angle on tech, especially on artificial intelligence. And ever since I relocated to Monaco, I received a lot of questions coming from these sort of institutions, investors, around the topic of AI. I was fresh off my studies. I was very happy to have done those, and thus it was easy for me to sort of serve these clients and reply to any of their curiosity. And in the end, I thought, okay, if I'm already performing this research, if I'm already helping some people and providing support for their daily analysis, why don't I just open my let's say, research to everybody. So that's how Artificial Intelligence Monaco started. It is 100% a research company. We have devoted all our time to education, educating the community here in Monaco specifically, but generally everybody who is able to reach us on Substack. And we do organize, of course, as you said, some conferences here in the Principality in order to let's say, raise awareness towards this topic.
That's fascinating. And, in our conversations too, what you're doing across all these different disciplines, whether it's mythology, neuroscience, physics, you're bringing all the disciplines together, like Leonardo da Vinci himself in the modern world. So I find that really fascinating. You also speak of information cost arbitrage. Can you give a breakdown what that means and how it could give listeners, readers an edge in, the market today, which is a little bit saturated?
Sure. So thanks for asking this question. I think it's actually very essential. I will just end 1 second the first part, speaking about the multidisciplinary nature of the subject. AI is definitely multidisciplinary. You can't see only from one perspective. Take, for example, probably the best laboratory in Europe. It's DeepMind, led by Demis Hassabis, now part of Google. He has spent all his career essentially being a coder, so from a quantitative perspective, studying computer science, and decided to pursue a PhD in neuroscience. So he is leading probably Europe and the world in this topic in research in AI. They actually won the Nobel Prize in chemistry last year with their algorithm. So I think that you can have different approaches to the subject. One of those being neuroscience, and according to me, it's surely one of the most interesting and promising one. So this was to conclude the first part, really. And now the second, instead, with the information cost arbitrage. So as you can imagine, it's hard to add value in a space where the information overload is already incredible. We have content coming from every direction speaking about AI. And I think nowadays what we really need is more an efficient way of aggregating all these data and transform it into, extract it into actionable insights. So I really believe that most of my clients do not lack data, but they lack clarity. So this is our fundamental value proposition. We bridge the gap between the public understanding of AI and what happens really in the laboratory by subscribing to premium sources, which they can be Nature, Science, MIT Tech Review, all the relevant sources if you are in a laboratory doing research, and we summarize it on our Substack, and for a fraction, of course, of the cost of the total subscription of each paper, and plus for making our clients saving a considerable amount of time. So we consider more or less 20 hours per week that we dedicate to research, so reading those newspapers, summarizing those, and total cost is around 3,000 per year, and we give it out for around 700. So it's actually also very, very attractive in terms of pricing. This is something that we offer to students in Monaco, to whomever is interested in our let's say analysis, curated insights. If you want, that being said, of course, for clients that do require a bit more attention, we plug on top a section of consulting or one-to-one session tailored or bespoke for their need.
That's amazing. And when you guys not only save people a lot of time, but when you're analyzing these AI companies, what are some of the indicators or patterns are you looking for the signal of real innovation or long-term value, especially when everything's moving so fast?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So it's a very hard, I would say, topic to navigate, especially from a fundamental analysis perspective. So just to give some context to the listeners, within our publication, on our spectrum of publication on our Substack, we have one which is called the Investors Desk. It's curated by me. I dedicate myself once a month to analyze on a fundamental, if possible, level, a company that I really like operating in the AI space. When I say operating in the AI space, it means either a first derivative play, so it could be the classic Google, Nvidia, Meta, or whatever, or it could be a second derivative play, which is a bit more niche, which, for example, we did last year was Oklo. So it's a more nuclear commodity company, not directly linked to that. That being said, on the board, there was Sam Altman. It was a very promising technology that they were developing and employing for nuclear. So we thought that was a promising company to keep an eye on. It performed very well ever since we wrote the piece. It's actually publicly available. You can check it on our Substack. In November, the stock is up around 300%. So we are very happy. Our clients are very happy. And this is essentially our job. And to identify those sort of companies which are still hidden, the price does not reflect already all this narrative of AI. And we hope that we will keep managing outperforming the market by writing this due diligence. Of course, they all have an educational scope. They are not financial advice. If some of our clients want to speak about financial implementation of the strategy, then we will have to partner with the financial institution to do that.
Love it. Now AI is also going global, but you chose Monaco as, where you're situated the last 3 years. How do you see Monaco playing, a strategic role in the future?
So I think Monaco is a unique place in the sense that it has a very high density of influential decision maker. When I say so, I mean that it has, I believe, the highest density of millionaire per population, highest density of billionaire per population. Average wealth, I think it's around 20, 30 million per inhabitant, and it has a total of around 40,000 people living there. So it's a very small place, uniquely placed, and it's, I think, a very good sandbox of, it could be potentially used as a sandbox of ideas. So to see how, for example, certain experiments could be performed within the principality. And plus, it's very close for me to my birthplace. I'm from Rome, but I lived my first 3 years in a small town close by. It's a medieval town called Noli. It has 3,000 inhabitants. So for me, it was sort of a natural outcome to end up being in Monaco. I love the place. If you work out, if you like to work out open air, it's probably one of the best spots in the south of Europe. And also the food is something that we Italians care a lot about. It's very good. So I really can't complain, and I actually love Monaco.
Yeah, it's great. And you're, you see yourself here. Do you see Monaco as a place where there's just going to be more people coming and more people adopting AI as time's going on? I mean, it seems exponential at this point where everything is going to be headed. So do you just see this trend double, tripling even the next 6 months, 1 year?
Definitely. So I think there is so much room of improvement in whatever you do on a daily basis using AI tools. I think it's becoming increasingly clear and transparent for everybody that whomever you are hiring needs to know at least something about LLMs or AI in general. So I'm very confident that we will be able to serve the community here in Monaco much more than we are doing already now. The feedback ever since we launched has been quite incredible. The demand super high, coming from all different levels, all different institutions, financial, legal, even like university, schools. So I think there is a lot of room to improve, to do things, and to make life more efficient and better for everybody.
No kidding. And also along those lines, your Sunday reads, they blend the mythology and modern AI narratives. What's one of the myths that surprisingly mirrors current AI developments?
So it's a good question, really. I think you have some which are in the common imaginary of everybody. For example, if I mention to you Trojan Horse, the Trojan Horse doesn't need any explanation in terms of mythology, but also it's a virus, a sort of tool that can affect your computer or your data, and they can be stolen, encrypted. And so there is this sort of parallel in between the two spaces. This is just a very simple, a quick one that we wrote about at the beginning of our publications. For the readers, our Sunday read, it's for free. So you just need to subscribe by email, and you will get it every Sunday. It's something that I really love to do because I have this classical background, and I strongly believe that if you are aware of what was going on 2000 years ago, or the questions that these people were investigating in their life, you can navigate nowadays issues much better, and you can face AI, let's say, life questions in a much more substantial way. So from the Trojan Horse to Oracle of Delphi, and the predictive algorithm is another one. So the Delphi Oracle used to be this oracle being able to forecast the future, but at the same time not being always as transparent 100%. And still nowadays, if you speak about AI and the algorithms, okay, there are people like Max Tegmark who are pounding the table and say that AI should be explainable. That's why he founded XAI. That being said, most of the algos are not really transparent, at least 100%. Some of them are obscure, opaque, and so this is another simple one that comes to my mind.
That's beautiful. And for people listening now or later, if you were to give one piece of advice, they're looking to build, something meaningful in AI. Could be media, could be tech, could be ethics. What would it be?
So it's a tough question. I think first of all they need to understand what they really enjoy from life. This is probably the most important thing. Once they realize, okay, this is what I like to do when I wake up in the morning. You will do it all the time, every day, 24 hours a day. And if you start a business, that's your life for at least 5 to 10 years, at least. So make sure that you love what you're doing. If you are not loving what you're doing, I think it's going to be super hard, almost impossible to create anything valuable, let's say, in the long term. So for me, I would advise to, in some way, first reflect, try different things in between 20 and 30 as much as you can. That's what I did. I used to work for Goldman, I used to work for a couple of startups in Italy. I spent my studying years in different regions, across geographies, try different education systems. So try as much as you can in your early years of your career. Once you have explored enough, or you feel like you are satisfied enough and you can now focus on whatever you like, settle down, dig deeper, keep your heads down, work. And I think at the end of the day, if you are doing a good job, you are adding value, people will tell you, people will provide feedback. And so this is the most beautiful thing that we have nowadays. When we go to our clients to do, I don't know, for example, workshops, conferences, or speaking classes, and they at the end of it say that that's what they were looking for and that's what they actually expected from us, etc. I think it is the best thing you can do at work. Yeah, I would say this really. I don't know for you if you agree or if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was having a conversation with somebody too, and they were saying that, with AI, it's makes people think less, but they have access to the information faster. So does it make them smarter or does it make them not as smart? I think it makes them smarter because they're going to access this information. How do you assimilate that information, turn it into something, and synthesize it into meaningful information to use in day-to-day life? And I think that's a fascinating thing across the board. But what are your opinions on that?
It's a good point you are making, really. I don't know if you read at the beginning of the month, it came out a paper written by MIT researcher. First actual paper analyzing what happens. So they do a brain scanning through a EEG, which is electroencephalography, and they do it while you use ChatGPT. So it's the first ever study that they are publishing on the actual effects of ChatGPT using in your brain, in your mind.
Interesting.
And the results, of course, there were different groups, control group, one using still pen and paper to write down their notes, another one using ChatGPT, etc., etc. And then the curious point is that they were exchanging roles at one point. I think we can consider ourselves lucky, really, because we were born in a society, in a world where ChatGPT wasn't there. So we had actually to think critically with our mind, to focus and to produce a proper piece without, we could search on Google, but it was different. According to the research, the areas of your brain dedicated to attention, focus, memory are not activated when you use ChatGPT. Or at least they are much less activated versus the ones who are actually producing it by pen and paper. That being said, what does this mean? It just implies that you are reducing your cognitive load thanks to this artificial intelligence tool. Per se, it's not a bad thing. If you look at calculators, that's what they do exactly, and we have been using them for a while. I believe it's if you know how to use them, they're a great tool. The only thing I am a bit skeptic is the part that we were born in a society where it didn't exist and we are now using it. So we are fine with that because we have developed already these critical skills that enable us to navigate society nowadays with an independent mind. If you are born in a society where you are already, let's say, delegating all your mental capacity and skills to a machine, I'm not sure that will be, let's say, positive in the future of the overall society.
Yeah, that's a big question I heard Elon Musk pose as well. And it just goes to show that we have to use our brain in some way and we have to train our brain in some way. And along the lines of superhuman, if anyone's listening, you can use dual MBAC training. There's neurofeedback, but of course, reading, doing math, trying to figure out ways to go on your own. Even like, don't look at Google Maps, look at Google Maps and then try and find your way on your own. But I made that mistake in Monaco and I ended up way up the hill that I didn't need to be. And it took me twice as long to get back. So I learned my lesson. So except if you're in Monaco, don't use as many maps.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, Monaco is not that easy to, especially because it's very uphill and there are a lot of stairs or lifts. So if you don't know those stairs and lifts, it's gonna be heavy to walk
Yeah,
around.
it's a big one for sure. Beautiful, Leonardo. So if people want to learn more about you, what you do, where can they visit?
Sure. So we have our Substack is substack.artificialintelligencemonaco. So it's quite straightforward and you can find us there. We are also across quite a lot of social media channels. So LinkedIn, X, and Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, yeah.
Blue Sky. And the thing that I strongly suggest is at least to take a look at our mythological section. It's probably something that I personally have been seeking around and haven't found anyone speaking about this already. So I would say this is a quite unique approach to AI. And at the same time, of course, if anyone is interested to reach out to dig deeper, we are very happy to provide a discount for the listeners of the podcast. It's something that we thought about with really. It would make sense. So please, if there is anyone who would like to explore further, feel free to get in touch. I will share with you after my contacts so you can speak to me directly.
Okay, great. And we'll put all that stuff in the show notes below. Thank you so much today, Leonardo. Really appreciate your insights, and I'm sure everybody else did too.
Thanks to you for the invitation, really, and have a good day.
Cheers, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot from today's episode. If you're ready to take your health and performance to the next level, get our free Superhuman guide at getsuperhuman.io. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and we'll see you in the next episode. Stay superhuman.